Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing today? Welcome to Tip Your Bartender. I am the bald and ginger bearded bartender here to serve you. Today, we got one of my favorite guests on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are actually inside his shop, Mr. Cutty.
Hey.
Bro, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. How's your experience with bartending?
Pretty much just like, I don't really have any favorites. It's just kind of like when I was drinking pretty heavily, it was just kind of like whatever.
Okay.
What do we got for today?
So, we are still technically in dry January.
Right.
So we're going to be making a zero proof cocktail. Traditionally, in this beverage called a Painkiller, the spirit base is going to be rum. Okay. Today, we have Seedlip, or zero proof liquor, if you will. This is going to be a citrus based liquor, some lemons, some oranges, a little spiced peppercorn in there just to give it some zang. Other ingredients that we have, muddling up some pineapple, we have fresh orange juice, and then we have cream of coconut. And then that's what that is right there. Yeah, cream of coconut. And then to top it all off, we have a pineapple orange coconut juice just to kind of pop it on top. Yeah. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Let's start making this drink. So first things first, we're going to take our pineapple and we're going to just dump it right in there. I didn't realize the oranges were going to be so big. We'll just squeeze that orange right up in there. Is this going to be our cream of coconut? We're just going to scoop that right in here.
Big old.
As much or as little as you want. I don't know what your coconut preference is. Bam, there we go. Last, we need our base. So we're going to take the liquor here. We're just going to fill that up right up to the top.
Look at that.
Bam. Yeah. Ooh, professional. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shake our cocktail. So we're going to take our large tin, put it right up on top, smack it a little bit just so it stays in place. And 1, 2, 3, shake. Now to get this off, so what I like to do is take the palm of my hand and just smack this little lip right there. And it'll pop right off. We're going to take our strainer here, right up on the top. And then since we have pineapple chunks and we have cream of coconut chunks in there and maybe a little orange peel in there, we're going to take our fine strainer. And then we're going to take that right there.
That's it? Oh, there was more in there.
Right there. It doesn't look like a lot. That's why, you know what I notice people always say, like, are you sure there's liquor in my drink? But sometimes when you pour the cocktail, it doesn't look like a lot, but it'll pack a punch for sure. And then last thing we need is going to be our pineapple orange coconut juice. And again, as much or as little as you want. I'll go right about there. The rest is for you, brother.
Pina colada family or something? Or?
Definitely got the color of pina colada for sure.
Right?
I don't know if y'all can see that right there. Again, traditionally, it's called a painkiller.
Yeah.
For us today, we'll call it a pain reliever.
Nice.
Cheers, Cutty.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, definitely the family. Yeah.
That coconut is really prominent in there, I think. Okay. But I mean, I usually don't like coconut, but I think this is pretty good. Maybe it's because you and I made it. Ladies and gentlemen, big news. I do just want to share that this podcast is being brought to you by literally absolutely nobody. We are not a sponsored podcast, but if you are only listening on Spotify, make sure to head over to the YouTube video where you can see Mr. Cutty and myself make this pain reliever zero proof cocktail. I appreciate you being here and offering your shop to me, being on the show. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm kind of fangirling right now. I won't lie. Ooh. Just to kind of get into things real quick, just because it's fresh in my mind, I'm curious, man. Like, you know how back in the day, all these girls were wearing like the juicy track suits and
Right.
sweatpants, right? Has it ever occurred or been in your mind to maybe do like a Cutty track suit with Cutty on the bum?
Like a full jumpsuit. Oh, like mainly like the Cutty on the bum.
Yeah, Cutty on the bum.
The Cutty on the bum. I feel like that was like almost too well done when we were growing up that like you can't really bring that back and like because then you're gonna be like trying to copy it and you're like I don't know. I mean, if it comes back hard and then you like come back hard and you're gonna like blast Cuddy on the butt. Yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna put it out of the question, but like it's a little bit like past where I'm at the moment.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like you're synonymous in the San Jose Bay Area, man. Like you are the clothing guy, as far as I'm concerned, man.
Thank
Like,
you.
If you don't know Cuddy and you're in this area, I don't know what you're doing. Everybody's got a little piece of Cuddy. So I mean, I would personally rock them myself.
Oh shit. Okay. The men's line and the women's line.
My wife might like that a lot.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, like I saw like the reels from like you and Cabo.
Yeah.
You look like what was that? Borat.
Had a little neon green one piece.
Yeah.
So
hats off to you for being able to do that.
it was a good time.
It takes a certain type of person.
Anything for the fans. Cuddy, I do just want to say, congratulations. I heard that we're going on 15 years.
Yeah, so this is 2025. This is 15 years.
That's insane.
Started it when I was 20 years old, 2010.
You still look like you're 20 years
old.
Oh,
yeah. Honestly, someone literally came to the door of our house yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I'm walking down the street and I'm painting the numbers on the street,
Yeah.
on the curb.
Yeah.
And then he was like, are your parents home? And I was just like, God damn it. So, like, yeah, by the time I'm like 40 years old, I think I'll be like looking like I'm 25 years old.
Okay, good.
You know what I mean?
You aging like fine wine.
Right, right.
Just take me back 15 years ago, man. What was the original inspiration behind starting your own company / clothing company?
Right.
And more so, give yourself back then 2 words of wisdom.
Oh shit. Okay. So tell like 20.
Tell your younger self.
Right. Okay.
Something.
If I were to tell my younger self something, I'm gonna start with that.
Yeah.
Because that one's like
go ahead.
Like crazy. That one. I would probably tell my younger self that I should have like quit drinking and focus on the brand sooner than I did.
Okay.
Because like it is, and that's not like a crazy monumental switch on when I did it.
Yeah.
But a lot of things went into play when I did decide to do that.
Okay.
Bringing back to my 20-year-old self, that's just like complete ruckus and chaos and like just causing havoc.
Nonsense.
And being in college and not wanting to be. That's essentially the mindset that I was in.
Right.
So it was a philosophy class that I was sitting in, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, philosophy wasn't like the problem.
Right.
It was just like what they were teaching, and it was that they were teaching us about like becoming an expert at something. It was the whole 10,000 hours rule. Like you need to spend 10,000 hours of doing something before you be considered an expert, right?
Oh, okay.
And I don't know who said it. I don't know like what philosopher or whatnot, but that stuck with me. It resonated when I was like, damn, okay, like what do I spend all my time doing? And I was like, well, like all angry and everything. I was like, well, I'm stuck behind all these stupid machines all the time, And because like I grew up behind these machines.
Okay.
Not this one, but like those two mainly over there. I grew up in an embroidery shop essentially.
Oh, okay.
So like my 20-year-old self, I was like, well, if I'm gonna be an expert at something and I want to be good at it, and then I'm gonna at least like start with something that I've been doing and I have the hours on it. So then I can just like tweak the formula into something cool and then branch off of that. So that was like essentially 20-year-old Cuddy doing his thing, and then like finding out a way to like
become a master at it.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
And like be good at it.
Wow.
Right.
So what were you doing before? I can only assume you had a job before you started your shop.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to take a look at my resume right now, it wouldn't look really good. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I worked at like when I was like maybe like 13 to 14 years old. I was like working at a bike shop. My brother was working at a bicycle shop, so I was like kind of shadowing him and like, oh, I'm gonna work here too, you know. So then like like riding BMX is cool to like get parts at discount, right?
Yeah.
So like working at a bike shop to start out with, and then Like an automotive shop came after that. VR Racing in Los Gatos. That was like my first like legitimate job.
Yeah.
So I was just like a grunt. I was just a tech.
You're just a hands-on kind of
like,
guy.
So, yeah, just like mop the floors and like grab this tool.
Job's a job.
Mess up this car, mess up that car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Oh man.
So like I think I worked there for about like a year, and that's when I was like 17. So that was like before the whole era, and then and like obviously like being 16, getting into driving.
Yeah.
And then like working at an automotive shop, you're like you want your ride to be like super sick.
Yeah.
Like
you
want
got
to
the best one.
Right. So like you want to start modding it and like adding cool stuff to it.
Yeah.
So why not work at an automotive shop?
Goes hand in hand.
Right. So that was like first job, and then that's like it.
Oh. Great. Wow. All right. Okay.
Short resume.
Your brand is everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you.
For instance, you know, I was up in Santa Cruz just the other day, and I saw your sticker out there.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz is about a half hour away from here.
That's our family.
Yeah,
they're like
I mean, they're
our
the same neighborhood, but still, just kind of goes to show like how transcendent you are, and how far people are willing to take your brand.
It was kind of like one of those things where when I started it, there was like a lot of other people starting brands at the same time, and I was like telling myself like I don't care like how long. This is another thing I should have told my 20-year-old self. I'm gonna go back to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That like I don't care how long it takes me to like be established and people to recognize me and take me seriously. I'm just gonna keep on grinding. I'm just gonna keep on doing it. Like F the haters. I don't really care.
You can cut on here. It's okay.
Sick. Fuck. So like when it came down to that, it was just like I looked at like Vans as like a classic traditional brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like established 1966. Like damn, they're OG. Like 66.
That's a long time.
Like holy shit, you guys have been putting in work for a long time. So like for me, I was like, I don't care if it takes. I literally said like I don't care if it takes like 10 years for me to blow up. You know?
Yeah.
If I were to tell my 20-year-old self, cut that down to 5. You know?
Right.
Just I don't care if it takes 5 years to blow up.
Right.
So like there's like a certain thing to say where like I appreciate my younger self for putting in the resilience on like, you know, just make it happen.
Yeah.
Be patient and things will come.
Yeah.
But then there's also like maybe if I would have put into fruition, I don't care if it takes 5 years.
Right.
Well, what would have changed? Like maybe I would have had like that burning desire to make something happen in 5 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like even when the brand hit 5 years, I still have designs from there where I was like, been repping 5 years of Cutty, you know, super sick. And I was just like, never made any of it. Pen to the paper, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing into production. Cause I was like, fuck, dude, like, how sick is this brand?
Yeah.
Because I'm like my biggest cynist, you know what I mean? I'm like hating on myself.
I know that feeling for sure.
Right. Because anybody who's creating anything, they're like putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, like I appreciate you coming out here and, you know, you're putting yourself here making a podcast.
I'm so glad to be here, man.
Yeah.
I can't even explain it to you.
So it's like, and nobody really understands that unless they've made something for themselves. And like, so like the most of the people that are out there hating and just like, oh, he fucking started a podcast or he made a clothing brand, blah, blah, blah. Like comparing it to other people that are successful. Haven't done anything. Right. It's like, why are you even talking about me?
Yeah.
But bad publicity is good publicity as well, right?
So anything, man.
So like even like flood the haters. Who cares? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like let them talk. It's great.
They're still talking about you.
Right. It's great.
I have always been in awe of you. You know, Reina, who was on the show, I consider you to be her mentor in a sense. When she first introduced me to you, I was like, man, like I admire your hard work and I don't know your entire story. Like you just said, I didn't know it's been 15 years. Before, but just the sheer determination and sticking with it is very inspiring.
Right.
If you can recall, just maybe like the certain specific day or certain moment where you said, you know what, I'm all in on this. Let's make it happen.
Right.
Regardless of good or bad. Like, do you remember that moment where you said, let's go?
Yeah, it was like it's kind of like interesting for me to say because like the beginning part of it was like it's almost like there's a beginning part and then there's like an after part, right?
Okay.
So like a big monumental point in in my life and my career was when like I got smacked on my motorcycle and almost died.
Oh.
So like there was that. Because even leading up to that, I was like just doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And trying to be better.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like I'm all in.
Yeah.
But like everybody, I can't say everybody, but like I feel like sometimes when people are still in like their goal and they're working towards it, they'll still be like kind of like fancying like the grass is greener, like go get a 9 to 5 or like, you know, do whatever. And I never did. And I stuck with it. But like after I got smacked on my motorcycle, I actually sold my machines. And I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm not like washing up the brand, but I'm washing up the whole, I'm doing custom embroidery for other people.
Okay.
Because like the brand Cutty is like my first child. It's like, that's something I created.
Yeah.
So I can't really give up on it.
Yeah.
I'll be like an old ass man, like rocking Cutty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let alone like it runs with my last name and stuff like that. So like that, I'm like in fully in.
Yeah.
Brand.
Yeah.
Right. But then the brand runs parallel with the custom embroidery.
Yes.
And like I was kind of like, you all need to find another embroiderer. I'm out.
Okay.
You know, and I did. I hung it up for a little bit, and people were like, "Damn, what?" Like
we still want to see you keep going.
It was kind of sad. It was kind of like whatever. It was actually kind of like a relief. But then I was like, ended up back at an embroidery shop working for somebody else.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was an insane time of my life.
My mind's going kind of all over the place because that's the great thing about doing this podcast. And so now, I mean, okay, now I'm just super interested, and if you're willing to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
If you may talk about that accident. You said you sold your machines.
Yeah.
You had to restart. It sounded like you had to restart everything. Like, I'm curious, man. Like, how did you get into the accident?
So like starting back up, going back to like the I'm all in.
Yeah.
Was like starting back up, buying my machines back.
Okay.
That's when I was like, all right, I'm back.
Okay.
And I was like, and I got my own shop, this shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, got my machines back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, now I'm all in. Like, I had the opportunity to walk away.
Yeah. And
I did a little bit, kind of. But then now I'm back.
Right.
So that's like all in. That's what I can kind of consider. That's that point.
Okay.
Which was essentially like 2018, which isn't even that long ago.
That is not that long ago at all.
Like 7 years, right? So that's kind of like the middle point. So for 15 years, that's kind of like the middle point,
halfway point of.
So like that's what I mean about like the whole like telling my 20-year-old self to like put away all the substances and like focus, right?
Yeah.
Took me 7 years, right? But like
everybody goes there at their own pace.
Yeah, seriously. Like
it's insane.
Right. And like I'm not like a huge preacher on like sobriety and stuff like that because everybody has their own.
Yeah.
But like I do like highly recommend if you have never taken a break from abusing alcohol or abusing smoking weed or whatever your fix is for like a year.
Yeah.
Just try it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what's the worst that's going to happen?
Right.
Like, are you really that unstable that you're not able to like just fucking put it to the side?
Even a month, man.
Even if you plan on like going off the rails after that year in celebration, just like I learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
For just not drinking for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then like slowly crept back like a tweaker, like in the closet drinking just with my lady.
Yeah.
And then like now like people barely even know that I drink.
Right.
It was like great because like the whole dry January thing, like cool, I don't necessarily want to be like publicly drinking on a podcast.
Yeah.
But like so this is great. Non-alcoholic and everything.
And it's tasty too.
Yeah, tasty. Right. I got like my pina colada.
Yeah. Going into sobriety a little bit and not like you said, we're not here to be preachy.
Right.
But recently, I kind of had my moment where I was like, oh. The oh.
Right.
And I like that you said the word abuse.
Right.
Alcohol and substance abuse.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, way back in the day, I did take a year off from drinking.
Yeah.
It was
good for you.
It was like there was a problem at the time, but then I was like, oh, can I actually do this?
Right. That's a big question.
Can I do this?
Like, can I actually be my genuine self without alcohol.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's hard.
Right.
It's hard to do.
It's based on personality.
Yeah.
It's based on a lot of different personality, and like that's one of the things that I realized during those 3 years, because I went to like 3 bachelor parties during that 3-year stretch of not drinking.
Wow.
So I'm like out there in like Austin, Texas, Miami, Florida, and Vegas.
3 of the most party cities in the country.
Shotgunning like Red Bulls and like just like pouring everybody else shots just so like we can get going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, but it was cool because, and I still had like a blast, and I was able to remember everything and like feel great the next day.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is great. But like everybody kind of forgot that I was even sober just because I would like still be my genuine self.
Right.
So, like it was great.
Yeah.
Coming back into it now, it's like I don't even have to like, it was kind of like losing that persona of like, oh, Cutty's gonna get blacked out,
right?
Because I was like that type of like drinker, and I've been like I was abusing alcohol since like probably like 7th grade. Like steal alcohol from my parents. Like get hammered and try to get drunk and sober up by the time I come home.
Yeah.
So that's like you're out of school at like like 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you're like meeting up with your friend to go get drunk to sober up by like what, like 5?
Yeah, that's
maybe 7. And just be like kamikaze, like, oh, a little bit of gin, a little bit of vodka.
Yeah. Oh,
like disgusting. What an idiot,
That's what happens though.
But I grew from that. So like, just being able to like not even like get the craving to be like blackout,
something.
Because I would have like a switch. I'd be like drinking, and then all of a sudden, boom, like nobody likes me.
Right.
That was like the best way that my lady would describe it. She'd be like, I just don't like you when you're drinking. And I'm like I don't, like,
you don't want to have that persona.
I don't even like me when I'm drinking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then like to come back and like to be like low key drinking was kind of like a nice moderate, like, okay, like have like 1 or 2, like, and then you're kind of like questioning like what the worth of it. You're like looking at the drink and you're like, why am I even going to like drink just 1?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's like a lot of things that play into it.
That's called alcoholism.
Right. 100%. Yeah. So like I'm an extremist when it comes to certain things, but at least I'm not like super abusive on like alcohol anymore.
Yeah.
And like smoking weed is just like, I don't even really have like, I don't know. Smoking weed isn't really a problem for me at all. Like if I'm going to like get down and like paint or something like that, and like I'm just kind of like creative zone, creative lab, pen to the paper. Yeah. Markers, Sharpies and stuff like that. And then,
it's pretty amazing to me that, especially talking about weed, like everybody has their own kind of different side of it. Some people get super creative,
right?
Some people like myself, I'm stupid.
Like I'm so, like blank paper. I don't even know where to start.
I can't even move.
Right.
I tell my wife all the time, like, every now and then, I'll have a little gummy or whatever.
Yeah.
Then we'll be laying in bed. I'm like, dude, if anything happens, I'm so fucked because
I can't control my body.
I don't even know what I'm thinking right now.
Right.
But then with like alcohol too, it's like, I was kind of, sound like we kind of almost are in the same boat here with that.
Yeah.
Like why only drink 1?
Right.
But then there's also that point for me. It's like I can't only drink 1.
Right.
It's like once I have one, I'm like, oh,
like,
let's go.
Like there's like the different type of sobriety too, where there's like the OGs that have like been sober for 10 years. You know what I mean? 15, 20, even like our neighbors right here at the shop, they're like, they go to AA meetings and stuff like that. And they're big advocates for sobriety. And I'll talk to people about sobriety and stuff like that, but I'm not going to like openly like preach it.
Yeah. Because
it's like, it's not my
obviously not for everybody.
You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, even when I was like going through my sobriety, I never went to an AA meeting. Yeah. I went to AA meetings back in the day to help my alcoholic friend be like, yo, I'm going to go with you because you're a problem. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, when it comes to like me being dependent and like wanting to like drink, I just like hung it up. Yeah. It was just like, okay. And I told myself that I wasn't even going to drink anymore. Because people were straight up like, when are you going to drink again? I was like, I don't even care. I
think at a certain point, it's just like, for me, what I've realized, like, and I haven't only stopped drinking for maybe like a month now. Not just because of dry January, but like I said, some shit happened. But some shit happened.
Yeah, that was one of them for me too. Right.
But like now, I'm like you said, like this thought in my head. I'm like, it's kind of an anxious thought for me, where it's like, okay, well, maybe I could have 1. But then if I can't only just have one, what's going to happen? So for
Mhm.
me, it's like, well, I'd rather just not have any
Yeah.
to avoid potential chaos.
Yeah.
Because I get pretty chaotic. I am not,
Right.
once that switch happens, the thing is, I don't always know when that switch is going to happen.
But see, that's what I'm talking about with like the persona.
Yeah.
So like people
Yeah.
will come and they'll see you drinking,
Yeah.
and they'll like almost bank on your personality.
Yeah.
So then they're all like, "Oh, Nick's gonna get
Play some
fucked
little
up," and
side
like play
bets.
some, and yeah, and like bank on you doing dumb shit,
Yeah.
right? So then like
That's not cool.
for me to be like in like I don't know, like out in the bars and like try to be like a respectable business owner,
Yeah.
and then like people will see me all blacked out, and then it's like they're just like, wow, I don't know. It's just like a hard thing for them to be like, is he even gonna get my shit done?
Right.
Like,
Right.
so then like it's just kind of like one of those things that it's a lot more respectable when you're not able to like or you're able to like control a lot of these things,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I see that. Going back to being a brand owner and owning your own company, who, as of right now, is your biggest account?
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's not one that will like stay consistent.
Uh-huh.
I'll have like certain companies that'll like drop like 10,000 here,
Yeah.
and then a different one will drop 15,
Yeah.
and then a different one will like one up it and go like to 20 grand invoice. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like sick.
Yeah.
You know, like let's keep these rolling.
Yeah.
But then like when an account does drop like double digit
Yeah.
thousands
Yeah.
in here, and then it's like they're not going to come back for a while because they just bought
They have everything they
500
need.
hoodies. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or like a whole array of different garments,
Mhm.
and just like they're set
Yeah.
for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got them for a cheaper price because they got that high unit price.
Yeah.
You know? So they did it smart.
Yeah.
But then they're not coming back for a minute.
Right.
As
Right.
opposed to like the accounts that are coming in consistently and stuff like that. It's
They're
it's kind of hard to say.
buying a little bit smaller
Right.
purchases, but more
Which is
often.
more frequent.
Yeah.
Right, because not everyone has like, you know, like 20 racks sitting around.
Right.
A lot of my job is educating people as well.
Mhm.
So like when it comes to like what they can do and what they can't do,
Mhm.
and, like minimum order quantity,
Mhm.
and like even like design options, garment options,
Yeah.
and like what will work best for them. It's good to prototype
Yeah.
if and when you can get away with it, because like if you're going to try to screen print and prototype a screen print, and then
Yeah.
you can't. Minimum order quantity for screen print is 24 garments.
Okay.
But if you want something printed and you want to go to like direct to transfer, you want to like, you know, try that method, and then by all means.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's good for the customer to wear it and see other people wear it
Yeah.
before they dedicate to a big batch, just because like you don't know how it's gonna flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I want to make sure it's going to be able to sell.
right,
too.
right. Like a graphic can look totally different
Yeah.
as opposed to somebody wearing it, and then like you see it, like people wear it like, oh, like the hood's kind of covering it. Oh man, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Going back into bikes, 'cause you mentioned that you were in a bike accident.
yeah.
I'm curious to know how your partnership with Slab Sides
Okay.
was formed,
Mhm.
and so why
Yeah.
is that partnership?
So Slab Sides is an own motorcycle shop of itself.
Yeah.
And then Roger's the owner of it,
Mhm.
and Roger and I grew up together,
Mhm.
and just like how we're talking about like alcoholism and stuff
Yeah.
like that, like that's just like a genuine middle school, high school, college and up like friendship that developed,
Yeah.
and just like into like just the same kind of like hooligan
Yeah. Little
buckley.
mentality there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually one of the things that I like to do the most is actually take people that like I like famous people,
Mhm.
successful people, take them, reverse engineer what they did.
Yeah.
So then you can kind of have a sense of like how they got there, right?
Okay.
So like when I got messed up on my motorcycle, I actually read Travis Barker's autobiography, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And like he had like I forgot how much of his body burned in an airplane
from his
accident.
airplane crash.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's just like a cool like drummer,
Yeah.
right? And he's like into like a bunch of cool shit. So I was like, I'm gonna read his autobiography, dope. And like, if you were to take and reverse engineer what Roger did, it's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty sick. Dude ends up just like into trucks,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and dirt bikes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like gets his hands on a Harley.
Yeah.
Starts like banging wheelies on that thing.
what they do is insane.
That's sick, right?
Yeah.
And then paves the way where it's like, dude, if you want to be cool, hop on a Harley and you're gonna be doing some sick shit.
Yeah.
And then buys a motorcycle shop. Now that you got the Harley, fucking bring it on in.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, selling the brand, sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it takes a certain type of mind and a certain type of person to be able to do that type of stuff.
Right.
For me to like grow up like literally knowing him since like 6th, 7th grade on.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how like when you were like a kid and you were like, dude, if one of us makes it, then we're gonna fucking be all rich.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
I still do that.
Yeah, you're like holy shit, that fucking happened. Like,
Yeah.
like he's out there crushing it.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
you can do nothing but support a situation like that.
Yeah.
So then like growing up and like even like hearing people like talk shit, I'm just like mind blown. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, how can you hate on something like that?
Yeah.
And then let alone if you're gonna be like saying that to me, like, what are you saying about me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh.
So
Behind closed doors, I see.
that'd be like growing up and having like a homie become like a full blown rock star in a band.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with friends that were in a full blown metal band.
Yeah.
Fucking crushed. They made a sick ass album and everything like
It's
that.
so cool.
Yeah,
It's
super
cool.
sick.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, hating on the homies that make it, that's just fucking insane to me.
Yeah.
Like you can't be doing that.
No. I think
You got like an
especially
issue with yourself.
yeah, no,
Right.
for sure. For sure. And especially as we get older, I think like, something that I've kind of come to realize is like, dude, we all, no matter what strain of life you're in, like, I think supporting each other is super important.
Right.
Especially more so when it's your friends or your family. It's
Right.
like, dude, like, rock on,
Right.
make it happen.
Right. And like anything like that, like even for me, if I'm going to collaborate with somebody, I want it to be as genuine as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not like trying to like force
Yeah.
like Cutty onto anybody.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to wear my shit, then don't wear my shit.
Right.
Straight up.
Simple as that.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But like if you're into it and you feel it,
Yeah.
dude, roll through. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Like let's make some stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honestly feel like building relationships like that are like way more long lasting
Hmm.
than something like that.
Yeah.
Like Roger and I ended up making a lot of things over the years just from just like, what do you need?
Hmm.
What do I need? Let's make something happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Keep it
So,
organic.
It's just kind of like something like that where like whatever field that you're in, if you
Yeah.
can find people that kind of like run parallel with it,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like whatever goes on in the shop, right? We got a custom embroidery shop.
Yeah.
And then we also have a clothing brand.
Yes.
And then we also have collaborative pieces that are custom embroidery for other people along with the clothing brand intermittent, you know? So like slab sides would be considered a collaborative piece.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Reina and TwstdThreads. And,
Yeah.
And your relationship.
Right.
From my perspective, right? I've known her a long time. If you haven't seen the episode with Reina, please go check it out. What made her the ideal choice to have in your shop? Because, at the end of the day, she does work for you.
Right.
And when she decided to start up her own brand, TwstdThreads,
Right.
what were you able to show her? And why is it so important for you to see her succeed?
That's a good one. That's a good question. When she came in here, it was like COVID. I had like 2 other dudes working here.
Mhm.
And I think she came in here like to buy masks because you know her, she loves to go on like vacation and
Yeah, oh,
flights
yeah,
and
oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah.
So she needed a mask to get onto the flight. And I was selling masks at that time. So that was like the introduction to her coming in here for working.
Okay.
Us knowing each other has gone back to like probably 2013.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially during that whole scene where like the Harley scene was booming and she was dating a dude that would do photography
Mhm.
and I went to middle school with him too.
Okay.
So then it was kind of like, okay, he's doing photography, I'm selling clothes, kind of like everything was kind of like mashing up.
Yeah.
And then like Reina was just a big piece of that too because she was just like down with the whole scene. She was
Yeah.
just like, this is crazy. Even her coming in here, she didn't think that she was going to start a brand. Essentially, whenever someone's going to come in here and work for me,
Yeah.
they think it's going to be something in their head. They're going to be like, oh, it's going to be so sick. And like, I'm going to be like making funny reels and like
Right.
fucking wearing cool ass clothes.
Right.
Like you're going to be running machines and you're going to be trimming and
And
you're
it's
going to
an
be
actual job.
working. you
Yeah,
know,
it's
like,
an actual job.
It sucks sometimes. But like, essentially, even with the other dudes that were working
Yeah.
and people that have came and worked here in the past have already had brands or didn't have brands,
Mhm.
I would tell them like, you're essentially going to start your own brand
Yeah.
if you don't have one already. because everyone is their own walking, talking brand. It's just a matter of what you do with it or not. So you decided to make your your own brand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Starting a podcast, dope.
This is what I do.
Right. I decided to take my brand and make it into clothes and whatever people think about when they see the name Cutty, hear
Yeah.
about the name Cutty. It's just a matter of what you do with it, whether when it comes to like logo design, when it comes to like what that brand backs, when it comes to what people think about when they see the logo, that all depends on you. If you are a full-blown POS, alcoholic, drug user, that is your brand. You know what I mean? Like you're really well known for that, right?
Yeah.
So like that goes back to like the whole sobriety thing, like being seen out in the bars as like, oh, Cuddy's all fucked up, blacked out, drunk.
Right.
I didn't want that to be part of my brand.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just like a me thing. Cuddy, okay, that's fine. But like me as a person, I didn't want to be known for that.
Right.
So that was like helping me like shut that out. So like Reina coming in here making her own brand, like that was kind of like I had that in my mind before she even had it in her mind. When she did do it, I was like, sick. That's great. Because it's also another way for her to push herself in the creative aspect and learn more behind here in the machines with her own will.
Right.
As opposed to me being like dadding her.
Saying like, get this.
I need you to do this because of this. No. Now you're asking me all these crazy questions that I never even like showed you. Yeah. Because you're pushing that creative aspect. Sick, right? That's a lot. That's like the change.
Yeah.
Make people want to learn it as opposed to force them to learn it.
Right.
They're gonna learn it.
I think with that too, it's like for the job aspect, it eventually gets to a point where, for me bartending, right? It's some days less of a job, more fun. Right. Because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I can tell
the whole scene. Yeah. Right? You're like, like it's like a party in there and you're getting paid and you're like the maker of fun. Right. Like how sick is that? Yeah. I've thought about wanting to be a bartender for sure. You're like the life of the party, let alone like a DJ.
So, I think with that, like, she'll come and she'll tell me like, oh, got this big order, but behind the scenes stuff, it's like it's freaking cool. I think it's awesome. Yeah. And I think for you, like supporting her in that way is like a testament to just who you are as a person.
And that's also another thing when it comes to like people coming in here and like wanting to make their own brand. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, like I'm gonna start a clothing brand, and I'm like, cool, dope. Like I hope it succeeds. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because if you succeed, you're gonna come back. Yeah. And you're gonna make more stuff. Yeah. And if anything, certain brands I've made stuff for, and I'm like, damn, that's sick. Yeah. And I kind of like bank on like that design a little bit. Yeah. Like or like that style or that placement, and I'm like, sick. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty sick. It's just kind of like a nice like outlook from just being in here and making the same thing. And sometimes I do have that problem where I'm like, okay, you're just gonna slap the one liner on something, or you're just gonna throw the CC logo on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like sometimes it's like my brand is the last one that I actually end up getting to work on at the end of the day. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm making all these like sick clothes for other people, and then I'm like, fuck, man. Like I wish I had more time
to like do what stuff for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was essentially like when I sold my machines, I told people, I was like, I'm only going to make stuff that has a Cutty logo on it. And it didn't really work. People still were like, yeah, but will you make this? I'm like, yeah.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I used to rap and do stand-up comedy.
No way. You used to rap? Sick.
Not very well. But
yeah, comedy.
Yeah. Again, okay. Not very well. Yeah. But it's still something that like even today I'm like, like I'll karaoke a rap song. Right. I enjoy it. Right. Stuff like that.
And just because you said, like, because you enjoy it. Yeah. Those are, like, the backbones of your soul. Yeah. Like, you need to stick to the things that, like, you are actually into and you thoroughly enjoy. Yeah. For me, like, it took a while, but, like, I'm pretty much set. I'm, like, things that make me happy. Painting, bikes, and, like, clothes, you know? Like, of course, like, family, right? Yeah. Like, watching my family grow and, like, my daughters and stuff like that. But, like, for me as like a person, like my one-on-one time and like my creative lab and my creative aspect, it's like anything that's adrenaline based, like 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and painting. How's it gonna get any better than that?
Yeah, no, it's a sounds like a great life to live for sure.
Yeah, and like some people aren't into like motorsports or 2 wheels, 4 wheels.
Well,
you know what I mean, like.
perfect segue when it comes to motorcycles and bikes in general, right?
Yeah.
I've always had this thought in the back of my head, like, get your motorcycle license.
Yeah.
But I can barely ride a bicycle. So,
Oh, yeah.
based on your experience, like getting your motorcycle license, right?
Yeah.
How easy or difficult was that for you?
I mean, just like anything, right? Like
Yeah.
getting your driver's license.
Yeah.
This is kind of like something that you do.
Yeah.
Kind of like
it-
if you want to like start a brand, you want to start a business, you kind of have to like go
Just
get your
go for
business
it.
license.
Yeah.
It's like annoying, but
It is what
you
it
just
is.
kind of go and do it. It's just like one of those steps.
Dude, I mean, I just want to say, like, resilience wise, right? Because
Right.
we talk about this accident that you had. And
Right.
it's such a, I think it's an important piece to your life.
Right.
But for you to get back on a bike
Mm-hmm.
in in general is just like astonishing.
It's
And
kind of like one of those things about like if I didn't get back on a bike and then I would let the bike win
yeah,
and fuck that bike.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, no,
yeah.
I'm winning.
That's you know what I tell you, man. I was playing adult softball and I
Yeah.
knocked out my two front teeth, and I said, you know what? No, I'm going back. Not quite the same.
You
but
have to, dude. You have to set that staple where like, and like, but I didn't like own like a motorcycle for like 6 years
Mhm.
after my accident because
Yeah.
like the first like 2 full years like were like I was like fully recovering. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then like the other ones, I was kind of just like focusing more on like financing and just like getting my life back together.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like at the point where I was like, dude, I'm like looking for a bike. I'm looking. You know what I mean? And then it was actually crazy because like Roger presented me with like, yo, you want to trade this sporty for like hats? And I was like,
Wow,
yeah. I was like, "What?" Yeah. So now that I'm like back on a bike, I'm like, dude, this is sick.
Yeah.
Like I was like missing out, you know. I regret like not being more present on a bike
Yeah.
during that whole upbringing of the sport.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was just such a crazy time.
Yeah.
And like I think it was just like one of those things where like expensive, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
just like
yeah.
I didn't have the money for like a Harley at the time. I could have sold my I had like a old school BMW that was like motor swapped and it was like a street legal go-kart, which like I could have and maybe should have sold
Yeah.
to get a dope bike.
Right.
You know, that would have been pretty sick. Ended up just like holding on to that thing and then selling that E30 to like a kid with a rich dad.
Oh,
And
okay. Nice.
I think he probably totaled it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
cheers for that.
Right. But like that was kind of cool just because like I was able to like do the whole goal.
Yeah.
We pulled the motor, put a new badass motor in it, and then got it running. I dailied it for like a year, washed my hands, and sold the thing. You know,
Wow.
it wasn't like a basket case of
Yeah.
like oh it kind of runs.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like a nice chapter to close it. So for like me to like finish it, and then I like was driving like a '97 Chevy Lumina for a little bit,
Car's a car, baby.
selling Cutty merch out of the trunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude. It's like selling mixtapes. Bro.
Right. I
Hey.
felt pretty gangster at that point. But then I got my my El Camino, and it was kind of like a switch to be like because I bought the El Camino knowing that like, dude, I want to throw a fucking Harley in the bed of the El
Yeah.
Camino, and how sick is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Ah.
and I always wanted an El Camino because Hyde from that '70s show had that '67,
Yeah.
and it was all black.
Yeah. And then you got it.
Yeah, so then now I got the '65. I would love to get another old school Beamer again someday, but just the price of those just like
Yeah.
skyrocketed. And I'm just
I
like,
I know nothing about cars.
okay, yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah. So that's just like kind of like a matchup of
we're surrounded by art
yeah,
in your shop.
yeah.
In your shop, and I just look around, and it's everywhere in here. Did you design and create everything art wise in your shop?
No,
No.
by no means.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like pushing art onto
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And like pulling the artism out of people too.
Oh,
Right,
I
because
see.
just like how I said, everybody's their own walking, talking brand. Everybody's their own artist.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what you do with it,
Mhm.
right? Pen to paper might not be your medium. Spray paint might not be your medium.
Yeah.
Tattooing, if you try it out, it might not be your medium if
Right.
if you're not that good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of like what people do with it.
Yeah.
What I found my medium in, I like pushing gradients. That was one of the main ones that I did.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to push a color gradient, and I want to do a big wall
Yeah.
that doesn't have any letters on it.
Uh-huh.
So that was the goal
That's it,
with this one, and something that I can come into every day and look at it and be like, that's sick,
Yeah.
and I achieved that.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
Now even when I color with my daughters and everything, I'm like getting down with like washable markers.
Yeah.
And washable markers are pretty sick. You can blend really well with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So like you do one layer, that's like a light coat,
Yeah.
and then you do like right next to it, you do 1, 2, that's a little bit shade, darker of a shade. Right next to that, you go 1, 2, 3, and you get a darker shade, and that's how you're building your gradient.
Oh.
To blend those two columns next to each other, you go right down the middle,
Yeah.
and it creates like 4 different colors right next to each other.
Holy shit.
It's sick.
Whoa.
I'm a fucking nerd
You
when
are
it comes.
an
Yeah,
artiste.
I'm a graphic design nerd.
That's
Yeah,
see this is why I like this is why this is so cool is because I learn things that I
right.
have no idea about.
Washable
And I'm
markers,
it's
bro.
washable markers. Oh man.
Right. And the thread wall behind me over here, that's actually
That's
one of the things that
crazy.
like when I was a kid, I would like look at that and I would see all the colors on the wall and I'd be like, damn, that's sick. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
because like growing up like in an embroidery shop, it was like people would ask me like, "What do your parents do?" And I was just like, "I don't know. Like, they just like make clothes and
Yeah.
oh, like screen printing? No, it's not like screen printing. It's like the one with the thread,
Yeah.
you know." And then like growing older, like I was always attracted to that thread wall, like all like the colors and the
Yeah.
gradients and everything. Like, what can you do with this color and that color? So that's kind of like what made me like stick with it. And then like rebranding it into like Cutty
Mhm.
was like, okay, now I can like actually make some sick shit.
Oh yeah. You like peanut butter?
I think it's okay.
Oh.
I'm not a huge fan of peanut butter actually.
You prefer if you had to choose
My li-
chunky or creamy?
Probably chunky.
Hmm. Good
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Right?
I know some creamy folks.
Well,
Yeah.
what was up with that right there?
Just to throw them in a random
Oh,
question,
just like a random
man.
question.
And
Yeah,
now,
my lady's a huge peanut butter
oh,
fan,
nice. Yeah.
and I just like watch her take spoonfuls, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
aren't you so thirsty? Like,
Okay. Yeah. That's
dude,
pretty.
like
It
that's
can
the first
only.
thing I think of. I'm like, dude, there's no way that you're not like super thirsty right now.
That's very true. Yeah, I do.
That's why I was a little bit thrown off with that right there.
Just a random question, man.
I was like, who sent you?
How much bigger do you want your brand to go?
Um, that's like an interesting thing for me. Where like my lady and I are raising 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Everyone always asks me like, "Don't you wish you had a boy? Don't you wish you had a boy?" And I'm kind of like, dude, I'm like steady chilling. I grew up with 2 brothers. It was a very male dominated home.
Yeah.
To have like 2 girls live in a girl house and
Yeah.
like just be surrounded by like chicks,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like going with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be me no matter what. And I'm into bikes, I'm into painting, I'm into that. So like for my little girls, it's like if they want to like follow along with that, by all means,
Yeah.
come and join.
Yeah.
If they're not, that's totally fine too. I'm never gonna like push this brand
Yeah.
or this company onto them
Mm-hmm.
by no means.
Mhm.
Because like growing up, it was almost like a situation that I was born into,
Right.
and then like me trying to figure out a way was like part of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So with that aspect, I was just like, I'm just gonna do it until I die. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, and how big do I really want to make it? That's an interesting question because of the quality aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see like Cuddy, I would hope that like you would like think that it's like a quality made
Mm-hmm.
garment
Mm-hmm.
that left my shop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we push for, and sometimes it's like that's why things take so long.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even gonna deny
Yeah.
that like sometimes like quality it takes longer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like my bad that like I wasn't able to get your stuff out sooner, but like I want your stuff to look as good as it can,
Yeah.
as much as you do,
Yeah.
or even sometimes more than you do.
Yeah.
So like once you blow up to be such a big operation that like quality control is just kind of like
Lose that.
and then you kind of lose that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of down with like the whole aspect of like it being a really well quality operation.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah.
up to like 3 people in here and it was kind of just like those 2 other people they didn't really know what they were doing.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like I would honestly rather pay Raina more than to like keep a bunch of people in here
Yeah.
just like fucking things up.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like at least my mindset too is like if I have a vision for something
Mm-hmm.
and I know how it wants to come out, it's super hard for me to let somebody else do it.
Yeah. Right. Like I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
Like I'm a control freak when it
Yeah,
comes to
yeah,
certain
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Right.
So I guess to that point, like the bigger you get, the less kind of
Right.
say or control, because you have to find people to help
Right.
you out.
And like you have to
So
like actually trust them
right.
to like I'm literally stamping my name on things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I put a lot of trust in whoever's gonna like
Yeah.
have it complete to like have it up to like a traditional standard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
On that note, Cuddy, I appreciate you so very much
Yeah, absolutely.
for hanging out.
Was that an hour right there?
About an hour. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
About
Okay.
an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have fun. Be safe. Cheers and enjoy. And always remember.
Always tip your bartender.
There we go.